on today is the chakra system, and I'm going to be delving into aspects of the chakra you may or may not know about. So the first screen that you're seeing on the left is the chakra flow, and it is live, and this is why you're seeing the chakras spinning, and underneath you're seeing the percentages that are changing. Now I'm just going to freeze it here for a second because I don't want to go too far ahead without you guys knowing what we're doing here. But basically, the first screen presentation is the chakra software, and I'm going to be going into details about that. The second screen presentation that you're seeing in the middle is the graph biofeedback graphs. And this is the diagnostic component of the technology. First, it takes the measuring from the sensors of the hand, and then it puts it into the different screen. Here is I'm actually entering in the first reading is my biopulsar scan baseline reading. Every time I do research, I do 1 to 2 baseline readings. And the reason why I do baseline readings is because that initial reading is what you're comparing any data to. And when I first started working with the technology, I have my original first baseline reading of my first scan. And then from there, I've just been adding scans. So I actually have accumulated data over decades. And to me, this is fascinating because I always share with everyone, my energy has shifted over the past 20 years, in part because I have, changed over the last 20 years. And so what you're seeing right now is my energy based on today. So what I want to share with you is because of the fact this is a linear device, we're getting data in percentage formats as well as numerical values. We can actually tabulate that information, and I'm going to be showing you how we tabulate the chakra data. But literally everything I do is a baseline of either from the first time you do a reading or a baseline of the day. Because of the fact there are variables that will happen, is consistency in our energy. We're going to see from day to day how our energy shifts, as well as when we're testing different products. And this is the value of the biopulsar, is we can test products live, as well as we can test our thoughts. We can test, different aspects of our thoughts. We can compare treatment modalities. We can do all kinds of comparison study. And once you've repeated something several times and you can see that the reaction is pretty consistent, then you understand the performance of that product or affirmation or visualization or whatever it is that you're doing a comparison. So for today's class, I'm doing a comparison. And again, the first reading I'm doing is the baseline reading. The second reading I'm doing is using one of our color energy products, and specifically our crown chakra blend. And then the third comparison is an affirmation that is violet in nature. Okay? Because as you can see from the chakras, my weakest chakra is my crown chakra, ever so slightly compared to my root, but nonetheless it is the weakest. So I thought, what better than to show you how my crown chakra changes based on either, a tool that I've used or a thought program. So affirmations to me are very powerful. I use them a lot in my day, as well as that's one of the things I always suggest that clients do is a visualization and an affirmation of what it is that they want. Okay? So here what I'm doing is I'm putting in data to illustrate that this is my first reading. Now, this is a feature of the graph software. I'm going to be going into how you do this with the chakra software in just a moment. Okay. So what we're doing is I pre-recorded 3 scans of myself prior to this class. So again, I can show you how we can use the chakra software in its various formats. And when we're analyzing a chakra, there's so much information that we can gather from the client to validate the chakra examination that we did. Okay, so you'll notice I put in the violet energy blend as my second reading, and my third reading is a violet affirmation. Now, if you're wondering what a violet affirmation is, let me share with you. Words are color coded. And in fact, most people don't think about the language of light, but the light language comes to us in many different forms. It comes to us, for example, we see colors from light, so we know that color comes from sunlight and is part of our light source. Also, plants. If we think about plants and including fruits and vegetables and herbs, often they're color coded, showing you the color frequency that is contained in that plant or food. So, plant is also color medicine. Sound is color medicine. Gemstones, their color gives us the vibration of the energy. So there's all these different modalities that we can use that are color coded, and thoughts are part of that. And this is why when, for example, we wear a certain color or we see a certain color, we react to it. I mean, if we think of the animal kingdom, for example, a bull is very reactive to the color red. It can make the bull angry. Likewise, red, if we stare at it, can bring up those feelings of passion and anger. So words have color frequency behind them. So one of the things I teach people is when you say an affirmation, say it with the color power behind it, because if you just use random words, your affirmation is full of colors. And then if you're trying to support a chakra, it's hard to support a chakra when you're not focused on that chakra intention. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later as well. Okay, but I wanted to show the power of a visualization because I think that in itself says a lot. Okay, and I just opened up the graph format so you can sort of see, you can do a lot of biofeedback and you can run the biofeedback quite long. Okay, literally, as long as a person keeps their hand on, we can do all kinds of biofeedback analysis. This is a real-time biofeedback device. So I just wanted to illustrate that. Now, here is part of the chakra diagnostic software. And there are three main operating systems of the biopulsar. The first one is the organ biofeedback graphs, which is the organ graph diagnostic software that I just showed you. The second main software is the aura software, and the third is the chakra software. These three main softwares are diagnostic softwares in nature based on their name and presentation. So right now we're in the chakra software. And so you can see to the left, you're seeing a live depiction of the ancient chakras, as well as you're seeing them spinning in real time. Right now I have the screen frozen. And underneath you're seeing the dynamic presentation of the percentages. And you have an accurate reading when those chakra values literally are within the same range. So for example, when the crown is vibrating at 60, 61, 62, then you know that measuring is at the point where it's a true measuring. So once we stabilize the measuring and we know we have an accurate reading, then we can freeze the data just by simply going to the little clock button there where I have my icon, and that freezes the data. And then from there, we save the recording, we put in the client's information, and we do everything that we need to do to prepare us for either doing the product testing or the data test or accumulation or whatever that we're using that specific software for. Now, on the right-hand side is Auramed's interpretation data of the root chakra. So you can see it is very Ayurvedic in nature. And so this is automatically provided with the chakra software. Now I'm just going to continue here so you can see some of the other features of the chakra software. Okay. And here I'm just showing you that every chakra has its own presentation of data. So I'm just running through a few of them. Now what I'm doing here is I'm going to create a PDF file that I could either print off for my client or send to my client. So once I have completed the recording and put in my client's information and saved the data, then I start to make PDF files. Now, I'll just continue to show you that you can also do it as a 2-page report where the total values of each chakra will also be created as part of the PDF file. Okay. Now, I've also printed out some chakra handouts that you can give clients that allow you to put the chakra percentages down, and it's a nice takeaway as well. And this is how easy the system is to use. Here, I've just changed it to Microsoft Print to PDF. And what I'm doing is I'm generating a 2-page report. And actually here I'm saving the data first. I'm showing you how easy it is to save the data. You'll notice that I'm going to put it under my BioPulsar PDF file folder. So that way I have all my different files in this folder. And so you can also individualize client folders and then again put the accumulated data. So now what we're doing is we're generating the PDF file. And again, it's just very simple. And I'm going to show you the PDF file report in just a moment. But I wanted to illustrate how simple it is to actually create that PDF file. Now, when you purchase the BioPulsar, there is a technical manual that goes all into the instructions of how to do these things. And as all my BioPulsar owners know, I do have sheets and videos that also go into this various information. And this is also the reason why we're doing this presentation, to remind owners on how to do specific functions, as well as teach the newbies how to operate the technology as well. Okay. Now here I'm going to be showing you another feature of the Chakra software where I can click it to own interpretations and enter in data so I can even print out more specific reports. Now, the reason why that this is a phenomenal feature, and I'm just going to stop it right here for a second. The reason why this is an extraordinary feature is because Oramed didn't know how everybody was going to be using the software. And so, of course, she's created various support softwares, but she's also given you the capability that you can enter in your own data based on your way of working with the chakras. And I do have another example of this in the PowerPoint presentation, but here I wanted to show everyone how easy it is to do this. So we just go to the data window and we click on data input. Once we click on data input, this window opens and you'll notice that right now I'm in the organ aspect of it where I can actually enter in my own, hang on here. I can enter in my own, I think I just rewound it a second. So I can enter in my own data input into the organs, as well I can enter in information into the chakras. Again, very easy to do. You just need to be in the administrator side of your program, and you can enter in the data. And again, I'm just going to show you how to do this. So I'm flipping to the chakras, and that little plus sign will give us the 10 different presentations of the chakras. And the chakras are measured within a range. So from 0 to 10 reflects the number 1 value. From 10 to 20 represents the number 2. From 20 to 30 represents the number 3. So we have 10 possibilities of inputting data based on the energy flow. Now, optimal energy flow is within the 60 to 70% range, or the 7 value. Okay. Now, what that further means is that when we compare what a person's chakra percentages are at, that percentage tells us if it's optimal energy flow, normal, the lower side of normal, hypoactivity, or hyperactivity. So the description number 10 or the value number 10 in the chakras is indicating that the percentage of that chakra is in between 90 and 100. Now that illustrates the extreme side of hyperactivity in that chakra. Versus when we look at the number 1, it's illustrating that chakra is in between 0 and 10%. And again, I have some other visual presentations to show you that will just solidify this more so what you're looking at. Okay, so all we have to do is type in whatever information that we want, apply it, hit the OK button, and it now becomes part of our biopulsar program. So when we go to, and I did the example in the root, so you can see here the information that I entered in the root. I kept the value illustrated so you can see that this was description number 6 for the root chakra, which is indicating my root chakra is in between that 50 to 60 range because it's at the 6-point value. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so you can put in your own data based on your learning, how you work with the chakras. Maybe you want to, put in some information that pertains specifically to your treatments, to your therapies. So literally you can write your own software program with the Aura software program. Okay. I think that's fantastic. And I actually have written some text, and I will be sharing this with all the biopulsar owners once I complete it, so you can put this into your own repertoire. Now, if you don't want to do your own repertoire, then Color Energy has created some data text as well. And when you purchase the biopulsar chakra software, this is part of the program that is another support program that we include. And in this software, you can see, for example, with the root, it gives you all this root chakra information that includes life learning lessons. Now, because it's on the screen, when you're actually working with a client, and let's just pretend here that this is your client's chakra analysis, and you can visually see that the root chakra is the weakest chakra, then right here on the screen, you can start asking the client, okay, when we, look at this chakra and it is on the lower side of normal, but still within the normal range, we have to look at some of the aspects of this chakra and how it might pertain to you. So, for example, it deals with tasks related to the material and the physical world, right? Ability to stand up for oneself and to be able to say no. Now, the lower the root chakra, the less capability somebody has to say no. And I could tell you, because of the thousands upon thousands of readings, when somebody has a root chakra that is below 30, then they will understand this very much so. Okay. And even at 40%, they're going to understand that. Now, at 50%, it still illustrates that there could be some difficulty saying no. But again, we can look at some of the other attributes of lessons for the root chakra and see if other things might be more applicable. Partner, business, and traditional family relationships, individuality, accomplishing goals, motivation, and driving force. And I could tell you, because this is my scan, I have a lot on my plate right now, and it's hard to sometimes check off my accomplishments when I have so many things on the go. So that will affect my root chakra flow when I am overwhelmed with a lot of things on my plate. But as you work with your root chakra, it will help you manifest the different things so you can check off these things off your checklist. Now, other things that go into a lower root will be the imbalances on a physical side, such as anemia, fatigue. And I'm sure a lot of my biopulsar owners who work with the physical body can attest to the fact that the lower the root chakra, there is a stronger possibility that the person is anemic. Can anybody confirm that with me?
Hi, Suzanne. Yes, I can confirm that. Not only anemic, but also anxious.
Oops. I'm so sorry. I missed that. Oh, Did somebody say something?
Yes, Suzanne, can you guys hear me?
Yes, now I can. Sorry about that.
Wonderful. Yes, I was going to say not only do I feel anemic, but also very anxious.
There you go. So thank you for validating that, Armand.
Yes.
Okay. So you'll see that in this, the color energy chakra support software, it goes into physically, mentally, emotionally, as well as spiritually, the connection to that chakra, as well as when the chakra is balanced, what we can expect. And if the root chakra or any chakra center that we're looking at is in excess, then it gives you some of the attributes for that, as well as when that chakra is deficient. But remember, the more deficient the chakra, the lower it will be from that normal range of 50% and higher. Okay, so when we start to see a chakra below that 50% range, we know that chakra is going into a state of deficiency. And also, there's information on when you should be using that red energy to help support the root chakra, and different energy treatments that pertain to that chakra. And I go over some very simple things that people can do, from using essential oils, food, and in my my newer PDF files that I share with everyone, I actually go into even more details. So eventually we will update this software, but just for the time being, the information that's on screen is quite comprehensive as well. Oops. Now, did I lose my screen? Did you guys, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I just lost it. Okay. Hang on. Where did it go? Oh, okay, I got it back. Sorry about that. I lost it on my end. Okay, so we go into the music, the exercises, all kinds of wonderful things that people can do to help support them in building up that chakra. And this is really important because remember, when a chakra is imbalanced, we have to treat it with the frequency medicine that is going to help either lower the frequency or increase it. Because unless we understand what the program is, then we can't actually shift the energy, because my philosophy is the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So we need to then address the frequency and work with it to help us understand the program that is underlying, that's creating that chakra imbalance, whether it's hyperactive or hypoactive. Okay. So as I mentioned, there's a whole wealth of information in the color energy chakra support software. And I'm just flipping it to the heart chakra, because one of the things we also have to understand, when we see one chakra that's in a slightly deficient stage, we also have to look at which chakra is slightly hyperactive or more hyperactive. The reason being is we are 100% whole in our auric field. Okay, we are in a physical form. Without our several layers of aura protection, we would be free floating particles, literally. And so therefore our aura protects us. And if one chakra is hypoactive, that means another chakra will go into hyperactivity. Okay, because wherever however we're using our chakra energy is how the chakras will play out. And an example I always give is when the root chakra is very deficient, often what happens is the brow or the crown will go into hyperactivity. Now, any chakra can go into hyperactivity, but if somebody, for example, had a situation when they were younger where they had shock, or maybe physical abuse, which would be very directly connected to the root chakra, that person may have developed a stronger brow center to help them survive. Because the physical survival of the root chakra is the physical ability to fight. But when you don't have the physical ability to fight, then in the brow center is the world of imagination and fantasy. So people can escape into their brow center to help them survive the root chakra trauma. So when we look at a chakra that is hyperactive and a chakra that is hypoactive, we start to have to see what the condition is that is creating that. Now, if we look at the physical level of it, if somebody, for example, is anemic, their heart chakra can go into hyperactivity, because if there is not enough oxygen in the blood to go through the heart, it will put more stress on the heart and create a hyperactive heart activity. Okay, so we have to start looking at physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually how our lowest chakra works with our highest chakra, and start to formulate a story. And that comes through the dialogue that you'll have with the client. Okay. Now, here again, I'm just going through the heart chakra information so you can see all this data. Now, it is not specific to the chakra flow. It's a very basic chakra software. So every chakra will illustrate the same information, but it's a focal point for you to have that discussion with the client. Now, here what I've done is I've flipped it to the new chakra tester software. And this tester software is phenomenal because it gives you the ability to compare data. So right now I'm just showing you that the first page, which is the chakra properties, it just illustrates the Ayurvedic aspect of that chakra. Now, when I'm doing the chakra comparison data, just give me a second here, I'm flipping it right now. So when we're doing the chakra comparison data, you'll see that the first row is the baseline reading. The second row is when I applied the violet chakra blend to my person. And the third is when I started doing affirmations. So this chakra tester analysis software program right away shows you, right away shows you the variables of the chakra. So you can see here that in the head region, the chakra is slightly deficient. And that's why I know I needed to use the violet chakra blend. Whereas on the second scan, it has gone up, even though it's still on the low side of normal. But when I combined the chakra blend, and it is a chakra aromatherapy blend, and in the violet blend are a variety of violet essential oils. Okay, and they're put in a carrier so we can apply it anywhere in our body safely. Now, my third measuring was when I used the violet blend and I combined it with a violet affirmation. And I created an affirmation that was specific to me based on what's going on right now in my life. Okay, and this is part of what, when you take some of our more advanced classes, you learn how to do these things more naturally so you can assist your client. Now, also, you'll notice that when I did the violet blend with the affirmation, it actually put my heart into slight hyperactivity. But what I loved was the fact that it did balance out my chakras more so overall. Okay, and that's what we're looking at. We're looking at that, that measuring to see how from one product or one thought or one treatment, how we respond. And I remember I was hired several years ago by an acupuncturist, and Linda Ward had hired me to actually assess her clients. And I assessed, I think it was about 50 of her clients that came in. And what we did is we did an initial baseline scan. And then I had a conversation with the client, and Dr. Ward was with me in the session. And then what we did is she did the treatment, and then we did another scan afterwards because she wanted to see how the client's energy shifted over time. And in fact, I came back even 48 hours later to see whether or not the acupuncture treatment held. Okay, but what she took away from this is she could see right away how her acupuncture was helping the client. But what she also said to me, Suzanne, some of my clients I've been seeing for several years, and your half-hour consultation with them, I learned more about my client in that half-hour session than I had through the history of my working with the client. So because of the fact I was looking at the chakra flow, the full body aura picture, as well as the organ biofeedback graphs, we were able to conclude a lot of data. And I have some of these phenomenal pictures from my time with her in regards to some of the things that she experienced during those sessions. Now, another feature of this chakra program is the fact that we can also print out this information. So I'm going to show you some of the printed pages afterwards. And again, with all our readings, we want to make sure that we're recording things along the way and making sure that when we're sending out the PDF files that we have all the pertinent information that is necessary. Okay, and we formulate the client's code name with the first 4 letters of their last name combined with the first 2 letters of their first name, and then 6 digits illustrating the date. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to look at is the total analysis. Oh, here, actually, I'm putting in the client name, so anything that we print out will have the client's information on it. I think I talk faster than the replay. Okay, so I'm now going to go into showing you more specifics because it was hard to do in a live replay. So just bear with me for a second here. And I had it on my desktop and I'm not seeing it there, so just bear with me. Okay, so I'm just going to expand this screen. Okay, so can you all see my PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So part of what I wanted to show more so today is aspects of the technology. And I want to go more into the chakra analysis because for anybody who does chakra work, this is really important aspects of working with the chakra system. Now, I put some verbiage here because I want people to understand how I see the technology. And the biopulsar bridges the science with the subtle energy anatomy of both the chakra flow as well as the organs, the health, and the auric field. So with this technology, we can explore the science behind the energy flow and decode the body's energetic signals in real time. Now, integrating measurable biofeedback into your holistic practice will not only bring new depth and clarity, but it will bring confidence to your work. And it will also bring client confidence, because this is one of the things that I have seen, with myself. And I just noticed that my screen isn't all the way open. So just give me a second here and I'm going to open it up all the way. So one of the things I discovered when I was working with the biopulsar is that visual presentation literally was, when we talk about seeing is believing, it's absolutely true. When people can see their subtle energy field, this goes a long way because it took out that biased opinion. It took out it took out that biased opinion. It took out all the guesswork. And for me, that was so powerful because all of a sudden I had people really relating to the information that was on screen. And clients' compliance increased because all of a sudden, because they can see what was going on with their energy, and when they came back and got that next scan, they could see exactly what improved and what remained the same. That was so important for even my own journey, is to see every day how the area of the body that I had broken and I had constant suffering in, that showed up every single time that I went on the biopulsar, until I started to understand more about the programming that was behind my own imbalances. So for me, I found that the biopulsar was a real awakening. And I have found this with the thousands of people that I've put on the technology. They also get a deeper understanding of themselves, and they understand the importance of doing the things that we recommend to help their healing journey. And if you can pinpoint 1 or 2 things right away, then that is such powerful information that you share with a client, because most people are guessing as to where they're at in life. Okay. So a simple path to understanding energy medicine is through the bioinformation and objective interpretations for the full body, its auric field, and the 7 main energy centers. The technology incorporates several bio-proven sciences such as biofeedback, neuroscience, thermography, reflexology, kinesiology, Ayurvedic medicine, traditional Chinese medicine. And we can even look at the science of palmistry, the body, the color language, to name a few other of our more metaphysical sciences that have been around for thousands of years, but how they marry up to the physical aspect of our being. And the more readings you do, the more that you can understand that. So in what we're going to be going into is delving into each energy center, because we have that pinpoint accuracy. We can look at the real-time energy shifts through the dynamic animations. We can track subtle energy changes using the percentage displayed formats. We can create customized reports based on our own knowledge and education and training and the way we work with clients. We can identify patterns, and this is something I'm going to tap into more when we go a little bit further into the presentation. And we want to give clients actionable support, because one of the things I'm an advocate of is if I only share with clients about their information and they don't take ownership and they don't work towards the goal of shifting their energy, then there's no point of them coming back. They have to be responsible for their own healing journey. And with myself, it took 2 years of working with my chakras, working with understanding my emotional, mental, spiritual, as well as physical blockages to break through and see major changes in my aura. And I will let everyone know that when it comes to, improving the root chakra is the densest of all chakras, and it's like moving a mountain. But when you understand the root chakra is your survival, then you understand how important it is to rebuild your root chakra based on whatever has happened in your life. And, again, when we go into advanced training, we talk about the things that really build a chakra. And, unfortunately, there's a lot of things that create imbalances in chakras. And the root chakra, because it's the most physical chakra, for example, it is the chakra that is supported through diet, is supported with the amount of sleep we get. It's supported with the quality of our air that we breathe. Everything that is detrimental for our survival is in part what creates our root chakra energy. And if you've taken some of my other classes, I always talk about each chakra divided into 4 parts. 25% is our physical health connection. 25% is our emotional health connection. Another 25% is our mental health connection. And another 25% is our spiritual health connection. Combined, that's 4 quarters that create 100%. When we are low in a chakra, where it's not at where it's at an imbalanced range, then we have to understand that one of our quadrants that pertain to that chakra, and I should say one or more of our quadrants that pertain to that chakra, are misunderstood. And we have to dig deep into that chakra to understand why that chakra is weak. And we have to look at that body, mind, and spirit connection. So through the biopulsar program, we can identify different patterns, whether they're consciousness patterns or unconsciousness patterns. And by engaging in conversation, we can understand more about a client's energetics. And we can evaluate how treatments, remedies, products influence the energy flow through measurable data. And we can support the client's compliance and treatment protocols. Now, this is one of the charts that I created for supporting biopulsar technicians. And here it lays out when we're doing a measuring on the hand plate.
Suzanne, I think you're still on the introduction.
Yeah, you're still on the introduction page. It's not moving.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's okay.
Oops. Okay, so I've done something wrong, which means I have to get out of here. Okay, can you see the full screen? And is it turning pages now? Okay. Awesome. Okay, this is the screen that's exciting. Okay, so here we can see the hand that is illustrated on the biopulsar sensor board. And what I've done is I've chakra coded every single organ on the chart. And this is a chart that you receive when you purchase the biopulsar. So it's great to have right on your table so clients can see that energetic connection of their organs. And with those colored dots, that's the connection to the different chakras. So you can see that the lower part of the hand is all about the root chakra, our water organs and our sacral center within this region. The majority of our digestive organs and the solar plexus chakra are in here. Now, in this region here is our heart chakra. And then, of course, from there, we go into the throat chakra, the brow chakra, and our fingertips represent the crown chakra. And when you understand the association of the various organs to the chakras, this is what we're measuring on the biopulsar. And so it's accumulated data that gathers that information so we get the accuracy of the chakra presentation. Okay. Now, I want to take a moment and let's just talk about what influences our chakra flow. So if we have a negative experience and this experience repeats itself, our mind, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, will store that information in the body. And over time, those distorted signals can create disharmony. And I always think about, for example, if something has happened in your life and you went, and all of a sudden your breath was taken away. And then a similar situation happens and you go, ah! And your breath is taken away. Every time you're replaying a similar program that's taking your breath away, that will eventually affect your lungs. Okay? And so we have to understand that every experience in our life will actually replay itself within our body if it's a program that keeps replaying itself. Now, if it's a singular experience, it won't. But if it's something that's connected to that, it can replay itself. Now, depending on that program and the frequency involved, this information will be replayed in the part of the brain where the thought resides and its connected organ. And that frequency gradually impacts the entire energy system, which will radiate into the aura. And since every organ is linked to a central hub, which we refer to as a chakra center, the corresponding chakra is affected and disrupts the natural flow of energy to the aura. So by identifying which chakra is out of balance and the corresponding organs and their associated colors, we can trace the imbalance back to the original thought, emotion, or belief through the patterns we see in all areas. So although I'm talking a lot about the chakra program and the chakra system, we have to understand our thoughts interact with our body, which affects our chakra, which then affects the energy flow of our aura. Similarly, when something happens in the outside of our auric field, and that could be EMFs and other outside influences, other people's energy, all these lower frequencies, if they keep attacking our auric field, what happens is eventually these lower frequencies can start making their way in our auric field, and it will start to show in our aura based on that level of penetration. When our auric field, with all our several layers that are connected to each chakra, are infiltrated, it then will affect us on a physical level. So when somebody, for example, has a problem with their respiratory system, then that means that there is going to be a hole in our auric field that will then affect us physically, which means then we have to influence that organ so it can pulsate back at its correct frequency and push and fill the hole up. Okay, that's what we need to do. And every chakra is connected to an organ, and every chakra is connected to our auric field. So we need to work energetically from the outside in and the inside out. This is why I'm always talking about we need to work multidimensionally. And this is one of the, beautiful things about color energy is we have this incredible line of alchemy products that work on your auric field first. Okay, and so once we can clear up the energy from our auric field, then we can strengthen internally, and similarly, we can strengthen internally to the outside. And I always remember in one of my classes, and I had about 30 students participating, and a naturopathic doctor stood up to ask a question, and she said, Suzanne, I've been working with one of my clients for years, and she's got cancer in the uterus, and I'm at my wit's end because I don't know what to do anymore. And I said, well, tell me what you are doing. So she went into her naturopathic protocols and everything that she's doing to support the client physically. And I said, so what are you doing energetically? And she was quiet. And she eventually said nothing. And I said, okay, this is what we have to work on. We have to work on the energetics. So she purchased some products to work with the client energetically to support them through this situation. Because remember, unless we raise our vibration of a chakra, then we're attracting those outside influences. Because when we look at what the definition of karma is doing the same thing over and over. So if you have a replaying pattern, and that replaying pattern, whether it's conscious or unconscious, unless you bring it to the forefront of your consciousness, it's pretty hard to resolve old past issues. So I work a lot with our karma line of products because I believe this is really important to helping clear karmic interference. And even with myself, I always share the story when I started working with our alchemy products, specifically the blue frequency products. All of a sudden I started having epiphanies of life experiences from my past that I hadn't thought about in 20 or 30 years, because I was in my 30s when I started my spiritual journey. So it was when I was in my 30s, all of a sudden I had these recollections from when I was a kid that were so repressed, but because I worked with the frequency, all of a sudden the memories flooded. Okay. And it's not like I had, bad memories, but all of a sudden, all these experiences that I knew were connected to my weakest chakra started to surface, and I was able to clear them over time. But again, it took 2 years to clear a lot of these blockages because I had to understand, what the emotion, what the thought was, what the spiritual connection, the belief was behind that lower frequency. Okay. This is why it's exciting to, diagnose the chakra system and start going into more of the depth of what the chakras mean. So the main chakra software allows us to see things in real time. We can also slow down the reading if we're doing more detailed before and after assessments. And the dynamic chakra animation is showing you the moving chakra flow because your chakras are always in constant motion. Even though once we hit the freeze button, there is that dynamic loop of the last second of the measuring that displays itself. So the aura is always moving, the chakras are always moving. Okay. Now we're also seeing the chakra activity in a percentage format from 0 to 100. Now 100 doesn't mean the best, okay? Because we need to analyze the chakra flow from a hypoactive state to a hyperactive state. So when we see the chakras at the range of 65, that is the optimal level, meaning you have a reserve. Now, why is it important to have a reserve?
So you have backup, you don't run out?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is so important to have a little bit of extra energy in your gas tank, because if all of a sudden, and let's just take a very simple example, if, say, for example, you're going to run, 5 miles, you're going to use a lot of red energy. And if you don't have a reserve, chances are you're not going to make those 5 miles. Okay. But when you have a reserve of energy in whatever chakra, then you can actually then, expend that chakra more and not worry about going into a state of deficiency. But when people have a weakness in their chakra and then they try to do something, right away they go into deficiency stage and they can't complete the task at hand. And the root chakra, I love telling people this, but the root chakra is your motivation and driving force. And because of the fact we have seen and proven on the biopulsar that 80% of people are weak in their root chakra, meaning the likelihood of their root chakra being the weakest link. I already know that part of my conversation I'm going to have with my client is saying, okay, you obviously have a lot of ideas, maybe you have goals, but how good are you at finishing them? Because for every 100 ideas, how many actually can you manifest? The higher your root chakra, the more you will actually manifest. This is fact. Okay. Now, my root chakra tends to be around the 50s, but I constantly work at raising my red energy first thing in the morning, because when you come out of sleep, you're coming out of your indigo and your violet frequency. That is the state that your brain will be in. Okay. And so therefore you need to ground yourself first thing in the morning. So I have red tools at my disposal. I'm putting my red energy blend on the soles of my feet first thing in the morning. I have red slippers, a red house coat. Like I have so much red energy things that I do in the morning to support me, that way I have good vitality throughout the day. And you always know if your root chakra is weak, that if in the afternoon you get tired. Okay. Now, prior to me understanding the chakras, I actually around 1 or 2 p.m. would get tired in my day. Now I'm like the ever ready battery, because I prepare myself with red energy first thing in the morning, that I can go. I can go and I go and I go and I go, because I have good enough red energy. And whenever I feel my energy wane, then what am I doing? I'm coming and I'm inundating myself with my red tools, whether it's my red color therapy eyewear or my red energy blend. And I do the red energy tools that I know will help me survive my day. And in fact, not survive my day, but give me the energy to outlast my day. Okay. And when your red is strong, you will have great sleeps. When people are going, geez, I'm not sleeping well, right away I'm looking at the root chakra, because the root chakra is connected to your sleep. Now, of course, your pineal gland is also. Now, again, I always look at these two comparisons. Where is your, pineal gland in comparison to your root chakra? Because your root chakra is your survival energy, and one of the attributes of survival is getting good sleep. Okay. So with the chakra software, you can also embed text and graphics. And I'm going to just show you that in a second. And then we also have the Ayurvedic description, which you can see in the picture here, as well as we can save, record, and replay. And you can replay any of your recordings. I record every single scan I take, because I never know when I'm going to go back to it. Plus, if I run out of time with a client, I can let them know that we can continue the consultation over the phone, because I have their recording. So we can continue looking at things. And when they come back, I have the 2 scans I can bring up to do a comparison. Okay. And of course, that we have support softwares like the Chakra Analyzer tester software, as well as the Color Energy Chakra software. Okay, so I want to just linger here for a minute, because when we're looking at the chakra values, this tells you a phenomenal story, because this tells you your story, or if you're using the biopulsar, it will tell other people's story. So right away when I look at this, what do we surmise? We can see that the brow is at 91 when we know 65 is the norm. And we can see that the root is at 33 and the sacral center is at 44 and the throat is at 27. So here we have 3 chakras that are weak, but we have 2 chakras, the crown and the brow, that are hyperactive. Okay, so what can we deduce from this? Any thoughts?
You need something to balance the crown chakra.
Absolutely.
And the brow chakra.
Yeah, we need to bring down the frequency so it's more in the normal range, because otherwise, this is somebody who's going to live in the fantasy world. This is when people, for example, when their brow chakra is at 91, 100 is like at the most, 90, between 90 and 100 is an overactive chakra. So when we look at the qualities in the connection to the brow chakra, this is somebody that might have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. And in fact, usually when somebody has a very strong brow chakra, they're night owls. And then if you're on the computer, on top of that, that's going to enhance your brow center. So if we wonder why the sexual or sacral center is at 44 and the root is at 33, those are our 2 most physical chakras. So this is somebody who might be more antisocial than social, because the sacral center and the root chakra, they have no problem being around people. But the brow center, when it's overactive, it self-isolates. Okay, and if this is somebody who's very young, chances are they're on their computer or their cell phone 24/7. They probably have the cell phone beside them at bed, that when it dings off, they're right away answering their text messages. It's somebody who becomes obsessed with technology because their brow center is living in that frequency, because the computer frequency is the airwaves. Okay? But they're not dealing in reality. They'll have a lot of physical challenges. And the crown chakra is supporting the brow, but it's taking away from the root and the sacral center. So this person is not going to be cognitive. And, it's sort of funny because I watch people all the time. And I know when somebody's in their brow center, when they leave the water running, and trust me, in the office, I'm very attuned to my brow center. I have my super senses hearing, and right away I can hear when somebody leaves the tap running in the bathroom. And when I know who it is, I go up to them going, okay, you're too much in your indigo energy because you just left the tap running. And this is a problem that we have with people. They're not cognitive. Now, the brow center can be on autopilot. I always laugh about this because if you drive from point A to point B and then you get to point B and you go, I don't even remember driving here. Guess what? You were in your brow center. You were on autopilot. You were able to get from point A to point B successfully, but you were not cognitive of the journey. When you are in your root center, you are cognitive of everything that goes on around you, which is obviously a safer way to be when you're driving. You don't want to be driving on autopilot. This is when accidents happen. Okay, you have to be so aware, and you have to be in your lower 3 chakras, which are the most physical centers. Okay, now we can also see that the throat chakra is 27. So do you think that this person is good at expressing themselves?
Nope.
No? And guess what? They're probably communicating telepathically, but the person who's receiving the information is not hearing them because they're not as telepathic. Because I often will joke with people who are have a high brow chakra, and I'll say, do you get into trouble sometimes because people say that you didn't tell them things, but yet you're confident you told them something? Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe you were telling them telepathically, but they were not hearing your signals because you were communicating through the brow center and not vocally through the throat. And this is the case with a lot of people. They think that they've told somebody something, but the reality is that they didn't. Okay?
Could this be
Because
a person
again,
that uses psychedelic drugs also? Because if you get a
oh,
lot of overactivity,
abs-
especially young kids on marijuana.
absolutely. Nima, you'll laugh at this. One class I was teaching, I had 3 women who were in their 60s, and it was a color class. So I was talking about, the color intelligence centers, the energy centers. All 3 were high indigo people. And when I started talking about the drugs of choice for the different chakras, because every chakra has a drug of choice. Okay. And the drug is different for different chakras. And it doesn't necessarily mean, a drug per se, but for people who are high in the indigo, then they could have been the hippies that were dropping acid in the 60s. Well, these 3 women started laughing, and I went, do you mind sharing with the class? And they said, not only did we do LSD in the 60s, but we still get together and do it. All 3 of them, their brow chakra was at a very, very heightened level, all 3 of them. So we have to understand that every chakra has its own, what I call OCD or addictions, because a blue person, they will be addicted to things that are very expensive. Okay. And they will be the ones, say, for example, to do cocaine or the more expensive drugs. Now, again, that's when extremely imbalanced. Not every person who is high blue is going to do drugs, but when they're imbalanced, they'll go for the more expensive drugs and alcoholic beverages, right? Like your expensive malts, like your expensive whiskeys and your more expensive alcohol. And I remember again another classroom, this guy was so blue, his aura was like all blue. And he put up his hand and goes, I'd like to share that I actually, when I go dining, I will buy a $2,000 bottle of wine because I can. Right? And blue people are often very successful. They make a lot of money. They're the ones that understand the value of money and finances. But again, this is what we look at when we're looking at the chakra values. What chakra is the leader? And what does it mean to that person? When it's in balance, indigo people, for example, are very empathetic, very intuitive, right? Imbalanced, they're so empathetic, they can pick up on other people's illnesses and get sick. Okay, they can feel the pain of other people. When the brow center is at a weaker level, then they don't have that connection to intuition. So the way we run our energy tells a story. And with myself, my throat chakra was constantly in the 23 to 25% range for several months before I started breaking these long-term patterns and habits that I had. It was such a phenomenal journey for me. And then as I started working with the different tools, and to me, I'm so sold on the chakra light essences for healing blockages from the past, because this is when I started to have breakthroughs and epiphanies, and I started to see my throat chakra getting higher in value. But we have to give clients homework because they have to be able to do things in the comfort of their own home. And the homework can be anything. And as you see my chakra homework sheets, you'll see there's such a plethora of things that people have in their home already that they can do to help raise the vibration of their weakest chakra. But to me, the chakras are so important in the assessment of a client, because we need to quite simply teach people about their energy flow. It gets very complicated when we get into analyzing the aura more so and analyzing the organs. There's a lot more knowledge that comes with that. But for the chakra values, it's very simple to start reading the chakras. This is a really good point. And you want to have your clients grow with you. So you can start with doing a chakra reading, then get into doing an aura reading, then the holistic health reading. Okay, because people need to start doing homework to get to that point of success. Because I already know if somebody's root chakra is 33 or below 40, that their success of doing the homework is going to be less. because they don't have the stamina, they don't have the drive, they don't have the determination. So all I want to focus on them is raising the root chakra so they have the power to actually do the homework. But the first thing we need to do is have people do the homework. And that has to be spiritual homework, mental homework, emotional homework, as well as physical homework. Okay? And here's when we actually, just by a click of a button, we can take our data and import it into an Excel spreadsheet and start to tabulate a client's chakra flow over time. So for example, if we, did an assessment, back in May, and then another one in June, and another one in July, and then again at the latter part of July, now we have four measurings to compare to. So you can see in each one, the brow was heightened. Each one, the root is the weakest. So we're able to show people the consistency of their energy, because I can tell you, when I've had people come back, go, oh my goodness, my root chakra has gone up by 10%. That's so exciting. So then all of a sudden they go home and they stop doing their red energy homework. And then they come back a month later and their chakra is back to the low frequency. And I'll say, well, what did you do? Did you stop doing your red homework? And they'll go, yes, because I thought I had it at a healthy level. Okay, you may have jumped it to a healthy level, but to get it to stay there takes time as well as determination. Because again, maybe it was just a boost because you're inundating yourself with all these wonderful, pleasurable tools, aromatherapy and food and gemstones and, doing all your color assignments. But as soon as you stop doing them, is the energy strong enough to hold? Did you get it into the reserve? No, but it gives people that, okay, I understand now. What you're saying is I have to keep working on it. And this is another reason why I've really appreciated the biopulsar, because whenever I have stopped doing something and I see the results that are not what I want, then it reminds me, okay, Susie, you got to keep doing these things, because if you don't, then you're going to get back into that situation, right? So it's always about maintaining balance. And, I'm at a point in my life that I want to enjoy my life and I don't want to struggle, because I've had challenges, but the things I've overcome is things that anybody can overcome, because I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. I have no symptoms anymore, nothing. It's totally past. My root chakra is strong and healthy. When I went through menopause, it was exciting for me to see. It was exciting for me to learn how the energy flowed during this period of time. And I'm laughing because a couple of the girls in our office are now going through menopause, and I'm laughing going, I never, I can count on one hand how many hot flashes I had, because I literally maintained that balance throughout my period of menopause. But if we don't do things, how do we expect our energy to actually flow with us when we're not doing the things that are conducive to our energy? So here, when you're mapping somebody's energy over time, then you can see, where we always need to focus, and keep it simple, because we don't want people to lose sight of what they need to do. Okay, and again, here's just an example of the Ayurvedic text, but I want to show you how easy it is to embed additional text. So you can see that all you have to do is click on the chakra button here. It opens up a window. That window gives you access to the 7 chakras, as well as if I click on the organs, I have access to every organ. Then when I click on the little plus sign beside the chakra, it'll open up all the windows that give us the increments that we're seeing the chakra diagnosis in. So you can put in your own repertoire. So I'm just giving an example here of the crown chakra, overactive, in the 80 to 90% range, and what you can enter in for data. You can add pictures, you can add whatever text in there that you want. Okay, so very, very simple. As well, we can import somebody's picture, and we can do that both for the chakras and the aura, and we can do the head or we can do the full body. Now, I like to use Da Vinci's graph of the man, because for one of the things I learned is it takes the ego out of the equation. I always remember I put somebody's picture in the background and I was doing a reading, and then all of a sudden they stopped me and they said, they made a comment, and the comment was, I'm having a bad hair day. So they were fixated on their pictures. So I no longer use pictures because I want to take the ego out of the equation. And only once have I ever been asked, like, why don't you put my picture in there, like other aura systems? And I went, I can, but I don't want your ego to interfere, because if I put your picture in there, then all of a sudden you can start looking at yourself. And, you know, a lot of people, when they see a picture of themselves, they right away start to pick themselves apart. Okay, so I don't want the ego into the equation, but I wanted to show you, you could actually overlay the chakras or the aura picture on top of somebody's picture. And this software is the color energy support software, and it gives you 3 pages of data that you can actually send to your client, either by email or you can print it out. Now, because of the fact we can do everything by PDF now, I can create PDF files in advance and send them off to clients. So I actually have done this for you, where I've created 7 PDF files that give you comprehensive information about each chakra. So if somebody has a low root chakra, you can send them the PDF file with their color homework, which comes to you as a single page sheet, and then a 5-page report that you can send them that I've created for you to use as a biopulsar owner. And I'll send you guys examples so you can see this. And then with the Chakra Analyzer software, again, I just wanted to show you, I don't know why this is blurry. I apologize for that, but show you how you can do all this research of different products or even thoughts. Because one of the things I also like to show people is how their thoughts affect their chakras. And I remember I had this one woman who went through a horrific relationship issue. And when I put her hand on the hand, it was quite incredible to see, because normally when somebody thinks about something in their life that wasn't a pleasant experience, we actually will see the energy of the chakras go down. But her chakras started to go to 100, every single chakra. I've only seen this once. And once I stopped the recording, I asked her to relay to me what she was recalling. And she actually had filed her husband with divorce papers, and he wanted to meet with her to give her the divorce papers back. And he actually had brought a knife, and he stabbed her 57 times. And after the 3rd stab, she actually left her body. And that's what we saw. We actually saw her leaving her body as she recalled the experience, which I understood, because when people astral project, their aura starts to turn white. Okay, I've never had somebody actually astral flying at the time, but it's easy for me to recognize people who astral fly because they will have white in their aura in specific locations. So we can see all these things when we're looking at the aura, but we can also see the percentages in the chakra flow. And I also have a family that they work with devices that will also raise the vibration of the chakras substantially. So it's quite fascinating. Okay, so again, we can see that, this was the page that was missing that I was trying to show you on the video. I think I must have accidentally cut it out. But the Chakra Analyzer graphs show up in this presentation, so you can actually see in sort of like a pie chart the differences in the chakras based on whatever it is that you're testing. And then as well, you get these measurement values. And you can see here, like the first measuring is at 60%, and the analysis as a greater percentage, and then the interpretation text, what that means. Or pardon me, the analysis in this situation was balanced. However, with the second measuring, the energy went down. So you can actually see what's going on from measurement to measurement. I apologize. I think what I did was I created a PDF file from my PowerPoint presentation, and I flattened it, and I think it took away some of the resolution of my pictures. So, okay, now reasons to buy the biopulsar. It's a turnkey operation. I believe the biopulsar really merges everything together, because when I would do consultations with clients previous, one, I didn't have the proof. And so it was hearsay. This was my opinion. And I can share with you, I've seen a lot of practitioners, and often they tell me things, or they recommend that that I do things, but they don't have the visual proof. So it's pretty hard to build up client trust when you don't have that visual proof, because otherwise it's your opinion. When you use technology, it actually validates what you're saying. It's validating the progress. It's validating the tools that you're recommending. So it helps to create that turnkey operation. And it absolutely builds client trust, because that visual perspective is invaluable. I can only tell you, I've had, hundreds, if not thousands of people go like, how you knew that? It is beyond me, but it always shows in either the organs, the chakras, or the aura. And you can validate it in all three as well, because again, if a chakra is deficient, it will show with specific organs that relate to that chakra as being deficient. So we will see it in the auric field, and we will see it in the vitality reading of the organ. And it will bring that depth, clarity, and confidence to the reading, because for people to see the interconnection between the energetic and the physicality is amazing. Now, I just wanted to share that this month we are having a special promotion on the Holistic Aura and Chakra package, where you get the Aura software and the Chakra software. As well, you will get our training package and color energy software. Plus, just going into the details of it, you'll get the color energy chakra software, where you'll also get the 7 reports and the 7 chakra remedy sheets. You'll get a membership into our Biopulsar Academy, valued at $1,000. And the Academy includes everything you need to get your business started. There's a bunch of videos that you'll watch. We give you all kinds of insight into, how you can even introduce yourself to people. We take you through everything that you need to build your business. Plus, we have a chakra library of information where you'll get chakra reports. I also give you examples of how you can teach chakra seminars and everything to do with the chakras, as well as the auric field. We also have files for research and other libraries that you can access to help you build your business. And we do have a comprehensive training program valued at over $400. And this will take you through how to use the biopulsar technology. There's a chapter on the chakras. There's a chapter on how to read the aura, plus how to do biofeedback. And I've also included over 20 exercises that you are to perform to learn more about your own energy, which also helps you to understand more about using the technology. Had I not gone through certain factors myself, I would have never been the practitioner I am today. And just to give you some examples, when I first got the biopulsar, I was like a kid in a candy store, because for one, there was no technology that I found on the market that did what the biopulsar could do. And it just chakra flow, but also I used it to do before and afters of everything. So every morning I would wake up and I would take a scan. Now, what I started to notice, if I did not have a good night's sleep, how that projected in my auric field. So one of the assignments you're to do is, monitoring yourself you'll get your baseline reading, and you'll do a baseline reading every day. And then when you have a poor night's sleep, right away, you're going to start to look at the things that are noted when people have a poor night's sleep. Okay. And so what I mean by that, you'll be looking at, you'll be looking at the pineal gland to see if it's overactive or underactive. Likewise, I was sort of laughing at one of the other ways that I learned about my diet is my partner and I, there was this famous company called the Flying Pig that made these awesome pizzas, and they were decadent pizzas with artichokes and everything else, just like super yummy. But the dough was this thick. And I did a before of my aura before we ate and then after we ate, and it was like night and day. So then I started to understand how our body reacts to certain foods, such as yeast, and how it affected our aura. So again, I challenge everybody to do these assignments so you can learn all these things that I learned in regards to my own energy. So to me, this training program is awesome. And then another thing that we're offering this month is $200 worth of color energy products. And I'm happy to put together a package for you that will support you on your spiritual and wellness journey, as well as tools that you might want to integrate into your business based on the type of business that you offer. And we're also doing a special for all our BioPulsar owners for the next month, that if you buy the Chakra Analyzer Tester software, you'll also get 20% off, as well as a color energy product package. So lots of offers that we're promoting today. Okay. And as a gift for joining me today, I've created this wonderful chart that you're going to be getting by email. All I need you to do is put hello in the comment section so I know you are here today, because that's really important to me that I hear from everyone, because I just want to make sure that everybody is here today. And this chart is a beautiful chart to help you in your work with chakras. And it goes into the associations, the emotional, mental, and spiritual theme. So a lot of great insight. And again, I just want to share with you, when you purchase the BioPulsar, for those of you who are not owners yet, I have all kinds of incredible charts that I've created. This one is my medical chart that goes into the color frequencies and what they mean medically. I have here a body language chart and a color scale. I have also a quick reference chart for reading the aura, quick reference chart for reading the chakras. I also have a chart that has questions on it to ask about the different chakras. And also, when you buy the BioPulsar, I'll give you my free chakra zone chart so you can teach clients how to apply oils and essences to the reflex zones of their hands. Because one of the things I always recommend to every single client I have is to invest in a chakra blend of their weakest chakra, and I teach them how to apply the essential oil on the chakra zones of the weakest chakra, and then massage it in. And they can massage it in either with their thumb or a gemstone to make it more fun. And while they're massaging it in, they say the affirmation that is important to them based on the conversation we've had in the reading. So for example, it could be as simple as, I am strong, I am healthy, I am motivated. I am strong, I am healthy, I am motivated. As they're massaging the reflex zones that are connected to that chakra point using the energy medicine of that chakra. It's a beautiful treatment, and it's something that people can do 2 to 3 times a day to to assist them in building up their own energy. Okay. So that concludes our session for today, but I'd like to open it up for any questions and that anybody may have in regards to the different chakra programs. For anybody who's interested in the BioPulsar, again, just put the word interested in the chat, and I'll make sure that I send you all the information so we can get you started right away. And from the day that you purchase the system, within 1 to 2 weeks, you'll have the biopulsar in your hands. So during that time, I send you the training manual. I help you get started in regards to your journey into this. So this way you have a week or two to start studying. And then once you get the biopulsar, I have videos for you to watch on how to set up, because we want to make sure everything is being done in a clinical format. And so you have a video to watch in regards to how to set the system up. And so we have all this already structured out for you to help you get started on your journey. Okay. So does anybody have any questions?
Yes, I do, Suzanne.
Yes,
I'm
Danielle.
prior biopulsar owner, and I don't remember receiving any videos. Is that something new that you guys created?
No, Danielle, I think because we've had some problems with your email. And so if you can go back to some of your emails, you'll see that there are links throughout the emails. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from when I first purchased the system?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Suzanne, how far back is that?
Is what? Sorry.
I'm sorry, how far back were the videos available? Because I don't remember getting those things either. But I purchased it a while ago.
Yeah. So in some of my last emails, I've actually put some of the libraries in there that give you access to some of the videos. Right?
Okay.
So I have been doing that continuously. So even in, I think it was not the last email I sent out everybody, but the email before, there was a whole bunch of links in there. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm going back in time now, and I'm starting to bring some of the libraries back into play, because I also know when people first get the biopulsar, you get so much information from me that sometimes it can be overwhelming. That was one of the things that I have heard, that there's so much information, right, Jan?
Well, yeah.
So you get all this information, and I always encourage people to go back to the emails and go through them. And in fact, any PDF files, you should start to create folders on your desktop, a folder with all your chakra files, a folder with all your aura files. As well, what I've done is I've created emails, and I know I've shared them in some of my emails of the past, where I've put together like an example email that I send to clients and what I include, because you have to have it down to a science that if you're doing a chakra reading, what does that chakra reading include? When you do an aura reading, what does that aura reading include? So in one of the libraries you received, you would have seen my own personal brochure where I itemized my costs and what those sessions include as a template. Do you remember that, Jan? Yeah. So
I do.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. If you go back, there was probably so much information in some of those emails that now I mentioned something, you go, did I get that? But nonetheless, I'm pretty confident that you would have, but I am starting to sort of go through the cycle and send everybody these emails for a second time. So that way, if you miss something the first time, hopefully you'll catch it the second time. And likewise with the videos, because we have so many videos, watch those videos 2 to 3 times, because you're not going to get everything the first time, especially when we go through all the different features of the software. There's a lot of information to take in. And because of the fact you also get the technical manual, a good idea is to watch the video and also go in the technical manual at the same time you're playing with your biopulsar, so you can figure all these things out. But I refer a lot to page 18, because this is the page where it goes over all the instructions of how to use the system. And the system is so user-friendly. You literally have, I think about 20 buttons that you just need to learn. Once you learn those 20 buttons, you're off and running. But when I take you through the tutorial, I usually go deep into the first 5 buttons that are the most important, because once you memorize those, then it's easier to navigate the other areas.
And you do go over them in other videos as well, too. So
Yeah, I'm always repeating myself when I do the biopulsar training classes, because to me, if you didn't get it the first time, hopefully you get it the second time. And it's practice, because I've done so many readings that of course it's easy for me to navigate the biopulsar. But I remember at the beginning, I was pressing all these buttons going, where is that taking me? Because Martina hadn't written the booklet yet. Because we were one of the first people in the world to get the biopulsar. This didn't even exist. So I just had to hit buttons. And then I would see where it took me. And then I just started doing things. And that's how I learned, was the hard way. Like literally just, playing with the system. Now I have all these additional support materials to fast track your learning.
Suzanne, by any chance, if I look through my emails and I don't see it, can you resend it to me by any chance?
I sure can, Danielle.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. Rosario, are you asking me to do the same thing now? Yes. Okay.
Yes, please. Yes, please. We need that.
Yes. Now, Rosario, you purchased your system about 20 years ago, and you just bought yourself a new upgrade. So thank you for that. And I see that Alejandro is on as well. So hopefully he's learning some information too. So I appreciate that.
Yes. Yes, thank you. We used, in 2000, we bought the first two machines. And it was great to work with that. And I made, through Radiesthesia, a program identifying even bacteria, viruses, everything. So that when you make the click of your mouse, for example, in a yellow zone in the forehead, I selected in all the information that I put there, what was the exact information that that yellow zone meant to the person that I was analyzing. That was incredible. But now I would like to do it again with this new one.
Yes.
And Alejandro is the one that works it better because he has more knowledge about computers. So he's the expert for me.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's been a pleasure working for you all these years, and I'm excited that you've got the new updated system now, because I think you'll find it that much more updated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely, and I agree what you said, that people need to see, because when they see all the graphics and see how it's changing, that helps. Even helps on their mindset, and that also it's very helpful on the healing process. So only the change they have to see that this chakra is now better, knowing that it helps to change the outcome from the therapies and everything. So definitely, we're now looking forward to. I'm still, that I'm still working on make it work, and this time. But I'm there, and I'm happy to see you and to finally meet you. And yeah, it was a long time ago when Rosario got the first. Our stars, it was called in those times.
Yes.
So now it's the upgrade. So we're very excited to see it running and help a lot of people with it.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, thank you for joining our team. We're looking forward to it.
Suzanne, Angela has a question.
Oh, thank you.
In the chat.
Okay. You can use the biopulsar on a desktop or a laptop. You can even use it on a tablet, but I don't recommend it on a tablet because it's just a little bit harder for people to navigate versus a laptop. I personally use a laptop, but we have them on desktops as well. Okay, so whatever works for you, that's okay.
And can you use it on Mac and Windows?
Only if you have a dual operating system. And I used to have a dual operating system, to be honest. I ripped it out because I just found the processing was much too slow for me. And so I have a designated PC, and I bought my PC on sale for $320. And the reason why I say that, because I want people to understand it doesn't have to be an elaborate computer. My computer is designated because one thing people don't realize that when you purchase your biopulsar, it's good for the operating system you've purchased it under. Now, I'm very thankful that Windows 11 is working on systems that were bought with Windows 7. But if you have anything prior to that, it's more complicated. And so therefore, Windows 7 to a Windows 11, there's no issue whatsoever. But Windows 12 is coming around the corner, and the new program is developed for Windows 11 and Windows 12. So we are right at the, it works beautifully on Windows 11 and 12. It's already been tested in Europe. Okay. So no problem there. But again, you don't have to buy yourself an expensive computer, just have a designated one. Because as long as your computer lives, you'll never have a conflict with your program. But the day that you decide to buy a new laptop, I'm hoping that you won't have any issue. But I do know that, Rosario, for example, because you had the old Aurastar, did you have even the LPT port?
Oh, wow.
Okay. The first generation was LPT port. Well, after a couple of years, USB came out. And we still use the USB cable for the transference of data, because if we try to transfer data via the airwaves, it can be distorted. So it will never not have a USB cord that's linked, or I shouldn't say it will never, but at this moment in time, it is connected by a USB cord, so that way the transference of data is there. I know the accuracy of the system because the system is so well made. And for those of you who are not familiar with the hand plate, this is 24 karat gold on this hand plate. And gold is the best conductor of energy. There's a double calibration system built in. Everything that has been done with this hand plate is to ensure that it will last a long time. And I have original owners that purchased in 1999 that are still operating their system off the original hand plate. Rosario.
If you need to clean the scanner, what do you have to use, or what do you recommend?
So I actually use our Aura Cleanser because there is it is water-based, and just show you a little bottle here. It is water-based, but energetically it cleanses around. I
cotton or something like that.
I never sprayed directly. You would never want to spray directly on the hand plate. Rather, and I'm just looking, my microfiber cloth is across the room. But what I do is I do one little squirt on my microfiber cloth, and then I gently clean my sensors. Okay.
And if in this moment we don't have the Aura Cleanser, what we can use?
I wouldn't use anything that's essential oil based because you don't want to erode the sensors. Then I might just use a squirt of water on it, but never even use a damp cloth because these are electrodes. So you would just want to gently cleanse it with a microfiber. And if anything, one little squirt of water just to pick up on any of the dust, right? But the microfiber cloth on its own is good enough. But I do like the Aura Cleanser for the energetic component. And you can take the cloth right in between and, get out some of the dust that might build up. I leave my hand plate out 24/7, but I do cover it with a cloth just to prevent anything, any dust particles for going on it. But I keep it out 24/7.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have a question about, I remember in the other system, I remember this gel that sometimes people need a little bit of gel on their hand, so the contact was perfect. Is this system, does it work the same, or is without any gel, or how it works?
There was gel in your carrying case.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think I saw
Yeah.
something.
So with each system, the manufacturer supplies a bottle of electromagnetic gel. However, this is my take on it, because when people are internally dehydrated, you will immediately see that when they put their hand on the system, you're going to see that you're not getting a strong contact. So that's the first thing you should note, is that that person is dehydrated. Now, because I've been doing scans for a number of years now, when I first started with the bile pulsar, I didn't see as much dehydration as I do today. Statistically, they say that 80% of people are dehydrated. We can pinpoint it to what organs are dehydrated if we don't put any gel on. Okay? As soon as we put contact gel on, the reason why we use contact gel is no different than when somebody's having a heart attack. When the heart is not emanating energy, then the skin is going to be totally perspiration free. So they have to put a gel on. So when they give that electroshock, that shock can then be carried into the body. So similarly, when we get a scan and the person is very dehydrated, you're not going to pick up on a lot of energy. So right there, you know, internally there's dehydration. That's the first thing you're going to work on, because if the body is very dehydrated, that's going to shrink our aura. It's going to put our organs in a state of atrophy. And if we wonder why, for example, a lot of dehydration is happening, look at all the preservatives in our food. Not only are the preservatives preserving our food, it's preserving our organs. Okay? And every time you put shampoo on your head that has preservatives in it, you're preserving your scalp, that your head cannot breathe out the toxins. So if we're wondering why Alzheimer's and dementia is on the rise, we've got to look at what's happening. Not only that, the minerals in our soils are being depleted. Not only that, there's so much electromagnetic smog. You know, we've got 5G and like just the amount of electromagnetic frequencies that we do not see that are interfering with our aura constantly. We have to understand that this is an epidemic now. You know, never mind what we just went through with COVID, which to me was just, you know, nothing compared to what is actually happening out there. This is what we need to be concerned about, because people are, you know, people who are younger now are having heart attacks. That's scary to me, you know, because we're taking chemical cocktails. And anyways, don't get me started on what's happening in our environment, but the reality is we are losing vitality because of all these things. So we need to teach people this is a wake-up call, and teach them the basic essentials of life, of how to repair and how to get the energy moving without having to use a gel. But we then use the gel, or we can use aura spray or any kind of water element on the hand to make that contact. Just make sure that people run their hands together to create more electricity. Then they put their hand on. Plus, it distributes the gel, it distributes the cream, or it distributes the water, so you don't get pockets, right, of disturbance, because we want to make sure we're not getting a false positive reading. And a false positive reading is where the whole aura will be blue. Then you know that there's still too much on their hand.
Yes, it will be interesting to put the hand of the client, make a click on the picture, and then ask him to drink one full glass of water, and then show him the difference. Because people,
Absolutely.
when you tell them they are dehydrated, they don't pay attention to that. But if they can see, as Alex was saying, if they see the difference, they know why we are living like this if we don't take water.
Yeah. And note things too, like note if their lips are dehydrated, if you see that their skin is dehydrated. Note if their mouth is puckering for more water. Note the wrinkles on their face based on, you know, how old they are. Start to take a look at these things that will help you discern if they are very dehydrated, right? So you need to start digging a little bit more. Plus, I always look at the small intestine, because the small intestine is key to the absorption of our nutrients. And when people are nutrient deficient, then that will also collapse their cells of the organs, which then again, creates that atrophied organ. And so what we need to do is we need to load the body up with micronutrients so the water can be absorbed. So I will ask a question like, when you drink a glass of water, how fast do you go to the bathroom? Because if it's within a short period of time, then they are so dehydrated. It's like you're watering a plant, and all of a sudden the water dish fills up because the soil can't take in that water element, because there's nothing for it to take on. So when people go to the bathroom as quickly as they drink water, that actually means they're very dehydrated. Yeah. And I actually have, if you go on to Color Energy's YouTube channel, one of my videos is all about dehydration. And I talk for about, I don't know, at least an hour on signs of dehydration and the importance of drinking water and other things that you can do to be more hydrated. So please share this with your clients, because you also have to decide, am I going to spend time educating my client on their energy, or am I going to spend time educating my client on subjects that they can watch a video on? Okay. And similarly, one of the things I always do with my new people is I let them know that I offer a series of chakra workshops, because I tell people I can teach you about the chakra system during a session, but I would rather spend the time talking about your energy flow. But if you join me in my chakra series of classes, I will take you through each chakra, so you will learn about your chakras. And my classes are about an hour long. I do longer workshops as well, but when I do the series, it's 7 one-hour classes, one every month. And so that way I take them through the journey of the chakras on a monthly basis. Okay. And that's a great way for the new clients to start learning about their chakras. It's a great program to offer. And again, these are all tools that I've shared with you in my classes. And, I've got lots of handouts in my various emails that go into all these different things that you can do. Because, when I do a session, there's 3 things I do at the end of a session. Well, first I will say, do you have one final question? So that way they know I'm wrapping it up. And then I let them know about the homework that they need to do, because I always give people body, mind, and spirit homework. I tell them what foods they can eat, what oils they can use. I give them affirmations that they can recite, right? And I go into all the different things that they can do, body, mind, and spirit. Then what I do is I let them know when my next class is, so they can join my next class for their self-education. And the final thing I do is book the next appointment. So if you remember to do those steps, then your business will organically grow. And there's a lot of ways to grow your business, and I have many videos on that, because I've done everything conceivable with the biopulsar. When we first got the system, it was actually hilarious, because Nikolai said, I booked you in a health fair, and I went, what, are you crazy? I've never read an aura in my life before. I'm not doing this. And we had this big discussion, and of course he played the boss card, and he said, well, I'm your boss and you're doing it, And I went into this show. I did 50 readings over the course of a weekend, which was a blessing, because I did not have time to think about anything. I just expressed what knowledge I had at that moment in time up to that point. I have grown organically with the system throughout my life, because it's been a huge part of my life for a number of years now. And I actually just phoned up stores, and I phoned up, businesses like practitioners. And I said, hey, I've got the system from Europe that can do this, this, and this. And I'd love to come in and, offer it to your clients. And that's how I built up my business, is just going into facilities, going into other practices. And, I just did my thing, and people kept rebooking me. Stores would rebook me over and over and over again, because I was the only person that came in that drove their products, drove their services, drove education. I literally did what I just explained to you guys to do because I understood that I needed to support the store to be successful as well. And some of you may know, and others may not know this, but I actually own two brick and mortar stores. They're herbal apothecaries, and in one of the stores we have 2 clinic rooms. So I'm offering services there still to this date. And so I'm going in there teaching people about their chakras, their aura. So I'm doing this. This is my passion in life. And for those of you who have known me for many years, know I am in it till the day I die.
I have a question. The 5-page of the different chakras, that the PDF, have you sent that out in an email or?
Yes. And it was probably over a year ago now, but I resent it to all owners. So again, it was just clickable links, and it was both to the 7 homework sheets and the 7 chakra reports.
Okay, so it should be in my history.
Absolutely in your history.
Great.
Yeah. But maybe what I'll do, because we've had this conversation, to all my owners who are online, I'll make sure that you get that email so you have access to everything. And for those of you where this is the first time you're attending or you haven't purchased the BioPulsar yet, I'll send you some examples so you can see what you'll get when you purchase the BioPulsar. Okay, does anybody have one final question?
Oh, thank you for all the information
Suzanne.
and for
This was
meeting
wonderful.
all of you too.
Yeah. Well, love to you all, and I'll send out everything I promised. And for anybody who's interested in the BioPulsar, just let me know by just saying you're interested, and I'll make sure that I send you the appropriate information. And for all the BioPulsar owners, you know what's coming. And I know we'll just always be in contact. And so touch base with me whenever you need to, as well as I've got some of you on my radar that I'll be touching base with soon.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you,
so
Suzanne.
much.
Thank you for the
Have a
class.
good night.
To everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.